Hello students, myself Dr. Kamini Dhiman from Department of Sri Roga and Pasuti Tantra, All India Institute of Ayurveda. Here I am going to discuss Garbha Upaghatkar Bhavas with you. It is mentioned in Ayurveda that a pregnant woman should deliver a progeny of excellent qualities, not only at the time of birth but throughout the entire life of a progeny should have excellence in all the ways physical, mental, social, and spiritual. Viryavantam Sutam Sute and Shreyasi Prajam Icchanti, and this Shreyasi Praja will be achieved only after Shukrahasra Atmashaya Kala Sampat Yasyopacharascha Hitais Tatha Annaihi. Excellence of Shukra, Shonita, Atma, Ashaya Kal, as well as maternal diet and lifestyle are having influence upon qualities of fetus. But due to these Garbhopaghatkar bhavas, a unique and happy moment of the life of a female, or we can say a family, may take a bad U-turn. Garbhopaghatkar bhava means Garbha, Upaghata and Bhava. Garbha means Shukra Shonita Jiva Sanyoge tu Khalu Kokshigate Garbha Sangya Bhavati. Union of Shukra, sperm, Artava, ovum and Atma, Jiva. Inside the Kukshi is Garbha, which stays there, nourished there and delivered at proper time period. During this entire period, the factors which can do upaghata means which can do destruction, which can ruin, which may create any disease or sickness in that fetus, which may harm or create any deformity, can be considered as upaghatakar bhava. These Garbhopaghatar bhavas may have ability to harm the fetus prior to pregnancy, during pregnancy, or at the time of labor or delivery. Here we will discuss the factors likely to harm during pregnancy, dietetics and mode of life of a pregnant woman, which, if avoided, will be beneficial. As the fetus in the intrauterine life is dependent upon mother for physical, mental growth as well as total nourishment throughout the pregnancy. So, minor unhealthy habits of a female which are not liable to produce any illness to her, but even though can have significant consequences upon the fetus. Some fetal origin of adult disease are also related to the lifestyle of a pregnant woman. Hence, in relation to complications during pregnancy like abortion, intrauterine growth retardation or premature delivery or congenital deformities in the fetus, understanding of these Garbhopaghatkar bhavas is of prime importance. We can subdivide or we can group these Garbhopaghatkar bhavas into different categories like Ahar, dietetics of a female, Vihara, mode of life of her, Aushadha, any medicine taken by her, Manasik bhavas, psychological status of that woman during entire duration of her pregnancy, environmental factors surrounding of her during pregnancy, miscellaneous or other factors. As far as Ahar, diet is concerned, it is mentioned that as soon as a woman comes to know that she has conceived, she should consume Vradyam, Dravam, Madhuraprayam, Snigdham, Deepaniya, Sanskritam cha Bhojanam. And it should be continued till delivery, Prasavat. And what not to do? Ati Guru, Ushna Tikshna, Ruksha Annapana should not be consumed. Why? Ati Guru Anna may cause Kapha Prakop. Due to Agni Mandhya, Ati Guru Anna may result in Ama. अति उष्ण तीक्ष्ण अन्न may result into pitta prakopa and ruksha annapana may cause vata prakopa. Hence, ati guru ushna tishna ruksha annapana may cause either vata, either pitta, either kapha prakopa. So, judicious selection of the diet should be advocated during pregnancy. Shushkam, Paryushitam, Kuthitam, Klinnam cha anna should not be consumed. Why? It may not be able to give proper and required nourishment to mother as well as fetus. It is also mentioned that Eka Rasabhyasa, Nitya evam in Ati Matra should be avoided. Now, what can be impact of Eka Rasabhyasa? Impact is upon the life of the progeny after birth. If a pregnant woman consumes sweet rasa articles daily in excessive quantity, her baby may suffer from urinary disorder in its later life, may have tendency to be obese and psychologically may be dumb. In the same way, use of amla rasa daily in excessive quantity may rise the tendency to have the disease related to skin, rakta pitta and eye disorders in later life. Same as daily excessive use of lavana rasa increases chances of early wrinkles, graying of hair and baldness in the progeny in their life. If you ask the baby who are coming to you, baby or girl or boy, having complaint of early wrinkling, baldness or graying of hair, if you take history of mother, if she remember, she can give you the history that she was having habit to consume lavana rasa during pregnancy in excess and daily. Same as daily excessive use of katu rasa will make progeny weak, possesses less quantity of shukra and may become infertile. Nowadays infertility cases are also increased. So in that case also you can ask to mother of those couple or male or female, if she remembers, she can give the history of excessive daily consumption of katu rasa during her pregnancy when that particular progeny was in her womb. Daily excessive use of tikta rasa will increase the tendency of disease in the progeny like Shosha, Shofa, Agnimandya. And as a result, the baby will be weak. If a pregnant woman consumes Kashaya rasa daily at excessive quantity, her baby may suffer from Anaha and Udavarta. In the same way, consumption of dosha prakopak ahara leads to disease causing tendency of that particular doshas. References regarding consumption of some specific things and their adverse effects is also mentioned. I would like to quote especially two things, Madhya eva Matsya Mansa. I have quoted two references also here. Madhya Nitya Trishnalum Alpasmritim Anavasthitam Va. Matsyamansanitya Chiranimesham Stabdaksham Va. If a woman consumes wine daily during pregnancy, her baby will be having short memory and fickling mind. If she consumes daily fish, the baby will have the defects as fixed eye or delayed dropping of the eyelids. I have not found any evidence in modern medical sciences that what is the effects of Matsya Mansa upon the eyes of the fetus, but it is mentioned by CDC, Control of Center of Disease Control, that alcohol in mother's blood passes to the baby through the umbilical cord. So, secondly, alcohol consumption during pregnancy can cause miscarriages, stillbirth, and a range of lifelong physical, behavioral, and intellectual disabilities. And these are termed as FASDS, fetal alcohol spectrum disorders. Article published in British Medical Journal has also concluded that alcohol consumption during pregnancy affects fetal growth and gestational age so as to increase the chances of SGA, small for gestational age and preterm babies. It means that upon fetus effect is restricted growth and upon delivery early delivery. It initiates delivery or labor early. Many fish may also be potent sources of methyl mercury and polychlorinated biphenol exposure, which have been shown to have negative impact on both mother and fetus. This type of researches we can find upon consumption of fish. Along with the specific things, some rules and habits are also mentioned to be avoided by a pregnant woman, like overeating, irregular eating, or fasting to be avoided during pregnancy. It is mentioned in our classics. Now come to Vihara, lifestyle factors which increases intra-abdominal pressure like Utkatukasana, Bhar Vahan, Vyayam are mentioned as harmful factors as they may initiate abortion, premature delivery or premature rupture of membrane. Yan Avarohan and Veg Vidharan are also having same harmful effects. A specific vihar mentioned is Uttan Shayana, to sleep in supine position. It should be avoided by a pregnant woman during her pregnancy. As a result, what happened, it is mentioned in our classics, is umbilical cord will encircles the neck of the fetus. It can also explained as supine hypotensive syndrome, which hamper the blood supply to the fetus, and as a result IUGR or IUD, intrauterine death, may happen. Some studies have supported this fact as maternal supine position in pregnancy is having adverse effect upon pregnancy. While mentioning triple risk for stillbirth, one component is supine position and it is considered as fetal stressor. If you explore, you can find much more references in the support of this. It is also mentioned that although it is a risk factor, especially for the late pregnancy, and so as to result in stillbirth, but it is a modifiable risk factor. You can modify it in the patients having history of stillbirths after exploring in detailed history. If such type of history is found, we can advise the patient accordingly to avoid supine position. Apart from physiological changes, a pregnancy comprises psychological and social changes. During pregnancy, psychological functioning of a woman also changes. She may feel mood changes, varying from anxiety, sleepiness, some level of depressive feelings or excitement, sometimes fear of delivery, even though she may have thoughts of pregnancy can bring about worries regarding its course and outcome. Sometimes some females acquire a phobia of lot many things due to over information through media. I have seen the cases of positive stress in some females. Existence of prenatal maternal stress may lead to different perinatal complications, which can have long-term consequences on the newborn. Psychological status of pregnant woman may have good effect or bad effect upon the growth and development of the fetus. We can say some researches have found that anger is associated with reduced fetal growth. Depression during pregnancy also increase risk of postpartum depression. In a study, it has been shown that maternal antenatal anxiety along with depression or without depression have been shown to predict increased risk for neurodevelopmental disorders in children. The impact of anxiety of female during pregnancy has been found to extend into childhood and adolescence, predicting ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Now, the point is, what is the association between prenatal maternal psychological state and alteration in fetal behavior and physiology? What can be the relation? Two possible pathways for transmission of maternal mood to fetus can be explained or can be found. First one is maternal fetal HPA axis dysregulation. And secondly, intrauterine environment disruption due to variation in uterine artery flow. Now, all the studies indicate that pregnant women's psychological health may have consequences for fetal neurodevelopmental development and consequently outcome of the pregnancy. At this point, I wanted to quote that gestational diabetes, which we call GDM, is far less common than psychological problems and depression in the females during pregnancy. But all the ANC patients are screened for GDM routinely and not for the depression or psychiatric illness, nor even for stress of her life. So, it is the need of the day and should be taken care of woman's mood and mental health during pregnancy. As per the definition of health according to Ayurveda, health comprises physical, mental, social and spiritual well-being. And here, for the care of a pregnant woman, aim is to achieve healthy progeny with excellence in all the way. So, it is mentioned that she should avoid utter harsh words and violent activities. She should avoid grief, fear, etc. She should not read exciting stories and should avoid the places where thoughts likely to promote anger and fear or so other type of adverse thoughts. Here are some classical references showing that shoka, kalaha, abhidroha like psychological problems during pregnancy may have adverse effect upon her progeny, like having less digestive power. If a person will have less digestive power, he or she will not have proper formation of all the sapta dhatus and so as to be having short life. Psychologically, will be having nature of troubling others and may suffer from some physical and or mental problems. So, a pregnant woman should avoid such type of mansik bhava like shoka, krodha, kalaha, grina, etc. to save her as well as the life of a baby during intrauterine as well as after birth. But for these purpose, we need psychological support of her life partner as well as from her family member, because surrounding of her may aggravate such type of bhavas in her or may subside such type of bhavas of her. So, when a patient comes to us for antenatal care, counseling of a life partner as well as family members is also need of the day and also should be done as per the requirement. They should be counseled to keep her in a healthy and happy mood throughout her pregnancy. Now, other miscellaneous act of a pregnant woman which may harm the fetus or may have adverse outcome of pregnancy also comprises ativyavaya, journey to uneven places, injury to maternal abdomen. This may result in miscarriages or premature delivery by initiating uterine contractions. Here we can conclude that diet and mode of life of a pregnant woman have strong impact upon the physical, mental, spiritual well-being of a progeny. So, to fulfill the aim of excellence of progeny, a pregnant woman should avoid these garbhopaghatkar bhavas. Thanks for listening. If you have any queries, you can mail me to this mail given on the slide. Thank you.